So as you're probably aware, Murder Drones Episode 8, the finale to the series, has released recently, and oh man, what a finale. I needed some time to properly think about it and also understand what was actually going on, but I think I have a pretty solid idea now, so I can make a proper review of it, and not just the first impressions. This episode was absolutely phenomenal, and also this video will contain massive spoilers, including background footage, so make sure to check out the episode first if you have not already. With that being said, let's get into the video. So this will be a very simple explanation of the story because I don't want to drag this out too long and waste your time. Uzi is floating in space, her mom tells her to not give up and saves her. Sin comes out with Jay. V comes back to save Lizzie, Thad, and Khan. V and Jay fight. N and Uzi almost die to Sin. V apologizes to N and Uzi almost die to Sin again. And V, N, and Uzi fight Sin and Jay. Uzi eats Sin's essence. Everyone goes back to the colony except Jay, who it is revealed in the credits has just stayed outside and repaired the ship. And in the post-credits scene, it is revealed Sin is somewhat alive, trapped inside Uzi, but can control Uzi's tail, and that's it. So, what do I think? Well, it's very fast-paced, and that's not something I mind, to be honest. The pacing was extremely fast, yes, but it also felt like every second of time was worth it, and I loved it. There was not a single part I didn't like. Sure, there are some things I wish they did do, but there was nothing I wish they didn't do, if that makes sense. Obviously, this was very rushed version of what actually happened. I'm not going to go into every detail, because obviously, I don't want to waste your time, and I've got a much longer section after this. So, speaking of which, let's get into what I am best at, which is analyzing characters. Before I get into that though, since this section is going to be very long, if you do enjoy the video, please make sure to like and subscribe, it'd mean a lot. Okay, time to analyze some characters. We've got 9 characters to analyze. I say that because Sentinel and Teacher aren't important enough to actually analyze, and by that I mean they didn't get a significant development. However, I'll go over them a little. Teacher was just being uncaring and funny as usual, that's really it, and the Sentinel was hilarious because it had this personal grudge against Lizzie for some reason. My personal headcanon is that it doesn't like it, that it got its picture sent to Lizzie of it being beat up by V, but that's really it. Anyways, now let's get on to the characters that I can actually analyze, starting with the main character herself, Uzi. Uzi has had some key things to go over, like her actually giving V a genuine smile and being happy that she's alive. Obviously we didn't see this in episode 7, but it shows she's actually grown to care about V. But what's more important to her actual character is being able to resist Sin through her strong will. She gets a prep talk from Nori and is able to revoke access to her from Sin by staying strong, and that's the main thing. Also, with this newfound strength of hers comes with being able to make tough choices, which ends up getting her the win. She's able to read Sin's fake out and grabs her heart, ripping it out, and then she does the tough decision of swallowing Sin's essence, knowing it could have hurt her. But she ends up making it, and it now has her tail controlled by Sin. Next up, let's talk about N. He was finally able to completely find his confidence in his actions and do what needed to be done. We saw a glimpse of this in episode 7, but episode 8 is when he fully gains that confidence. He hesitates to shoot Sin, likely because of it being Tessa's body, even though he kind of killed who he thought was Tessa before, but he seems to realize he was kind of at fault for that if it actually was Tessa, even if it was actually Sin who lived. But after the apology from V and Uzi comforting him, he seems to finally find his confidence and fight Sin without hesitation, landing hits whenever he can. Don't got as much to say about him as I do with Uzi. And also, I've got a lot to say about this next character, V. You may know V is my favorite character. If you've been following the channel, that shouldn't come as much as a surprise. They finally started treating her like a main character this episode, and it shows. This might actually be her best episode, the only one even coming close is 6. I actually have a full video explaining why this episode perfected V and was exactly what she needed, but I'll say it again here, even if I do recommend checking out that video for a more analytical standpoint. Basically, while I think up to episode 7 her writing was very smart and subtle, I love the way she was as a character, I couldn't help but feel like the episodes just used her as an afterthought, and mostly she was there to progress the plot. However, there are some exceptions, but you get the idea. This episode, though, actually gives her the spotlight she deserves and the proper conclusion to her arc, making it all come together. That hallway scene where she breaks down apologizing to En alone makes her amazing, but she actually joined En and Uzi in the big fight against Sin, actually finally being represented as part of the main trio. Every second she was on screen was worthwhile, and even people who didn't think she should come back, that I know, say she was used really well and might have been the best part of the episode. In terms of analyzing her though, they added a whole nother layer onto her that I didn't expect. She knew about Sin being Tessa, and she, Jay, and Sin had an agreement that if they did their jobs on the planet, the Solver would leave them alone, and that is the biggest reason she was keeping En in the dark. I had my doubts on if they could give V the justice she deserved, but they completely fulfilled my expectations and hopes, and then some. So great job, Liam and Glitch. My favorite character really got what they needed. If you want my full analysis on that scene though, once again, I recommend that video I made recently on it. And if you want my full analysis on V before episode 8, I made one of those too. But onto a character that a lot of people were clamoring for justice for, which is Jay. Did Jay get her justice? Well, yes and no. Let me explain. You see, Jay got her justice in the sense that I think she got a lot more screen time and character growth, and what she did was in character. In terms of not getting justice though, that's because she was screwed over not by the show, in this episode at least, but she was screwed over by Sin and life as a whole. She probably is the most tragic character in the whole show, and the only one deserving of a happy ending that didn't get one. Tessa was the only person she cared about, and she got killed by Sin. Obviously she hated this, but she had to go along with Sin or else she would die herself. Even so, she's treated as an object to Sin. Even though she was promised that if they did their jobs, the Solver would leave them alone, that wasn't the case. They were tricked, but instead of going against the Solver because of it like V did, she stayed with the Solver because, in my opinion, it was because it was the only semblance of Tessa she had left, and also she knew if she switched sides, she would probably die. And she didn't want this for V either, as we can see she tries to get V to switch sides, but was ultimately rejected. And after this, she was beaten by V, Uzi, and En. She was tossed aside and did not get to live among the workers, but was left outside to repair the ship. Alone, with no one left. Not V, not En, not Tessa, not even Sin. In fact, Sin got to live among the worker drones, even if it sucks for her because she's trapped inside Uzi and forced to live in her as a tail. But she's there. Jay got nothing, and it's really tragic and sad for her, because her loyalty to Tessa and the company went so deep that she wasn't willing to let go of it when it was her killer wearing her skin as a suit, and it led to her getting left alone. But while that's really depressing, let's talk about some more minor roles before talking about the big bad herself, Sin. First, there's Thad. He didn't do much, but his courageous and selfless acts show. He went along with Lizzie's dumb plan because he trusted her, he saved her from falling, he threw Uzi the railgun, and was just overall being cool. That's it, that's his role usually, and he does it good. Speaking of Lizzie, she's also just being funny and sassy as usual. For some reason, her and the Sentinel have beef, and I find that hilarious. She was also texting V, so that's something. Yeah, those two don't really have as much to analyze or talk about, they're just cool. But there are two characters who don't have as much screen time either, but have a little bit more to talk about, that being Khan and Nori. Now, Nori appears at the beginning and gives Uzi a prep talk to help her fight off the Solver, and that's her main thing, helping Uzi develop. She seems to be scared to talk to Khan after leaving him for so many years and runs off after saving him in a panic, which was adorable, though of course I would have liked to see Khan and Nori reunion scene, because we see them together in the credits, yet we don't actually see them reunite on screen. I would have loved that. And it was one of those things I was looking forward to the most, so I'm a little sad we didn't get it, but whatever, maybe we'll get a mini comic or something showing it, I don't know, doubt it, but you never know. Now let's talk about Khan. He was hilarious as always, and showing his development of turning around and becoming a better father was always such a treat to see. His use of a door to cut off Sin's limbs was amazing, and I'm glad he played a decent role in this episode, more than he did since like episode 1. And now, of course, it's time to talk about the character that's been on everyone's minds, Sin. Holy shit, they cooked with Sin. She is so intimidating and silly, and I love her. I didn't think much of her before, but now she's an easy top 5 character for me. Other than V, she completely stole the spotlight. She's so menacing, right? But yet so entertaining at the same time. Her crazy fight, her silly dialogue, just everything. Every scene with her was perfect. Like, I don't know how to critique or review this, she's just awesome. I will say what I can analyze is how she used fear to her advantage and manipulated everyone's emotions to give them a disadvantage. Uzi, N, V, and even J were manipulated by her, and makes for such a lovable yet intimidating villain. Just peak. That's all I can say. Whew, that was a long character section. Let's get on to some of the shorter ones now. The music was absolutely amazing, as always. Every episode has that one song, but this one has multiple. I love the knife dance, I love Solver Uzi, I love Disassembly Required, and I really love Eternal Dream. That being said, this episode might just have a song that beats out Eternal Dream for me. That's right, though it's probably not officially out by the time this video is, it's called Bite Me according to the music writer of the show, AJ Dispirito. I hope I pronounced it that right. Might be Dispirito, I don't know. The credits song is also absolutely amazing, and I cannot wait for Volume 3 of the soundtrack to be released so I can see these. They also made the scenes so much cooler, they absolutely cooked. But let's talk about the animation now. Big shocker, this might be the best animated indie episode like ever. I was actually so shocked by it, and it was so good. Like, I'm not very knowledgeable on animation, but I know some of you guys might be. So let me know how amazing it was from a technical standpoint in the comments below. All I can say is the fights look sick, the animation was just amazing, and I really can't stress how good it is. You guys need to watch it, please, 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 if you haven't for some reason. I guarantee it's worth your time. Every frame was so well crafted, and it was worth the wait for this amazing episode. The delay was so worth it. I don't really know what to say since, as I said, I'm not knowledgeable on this, but you know, it looks good. Yep. Okay, let's wrap things up.
Oh, how about you?
So, was it good? Yes, arguably the best episode in the series, 10 out of 10. Sure, some things could have been done better, but nothing is perfect. It's a treat to watch through every second of it, and I'm glad Murder Drones got a happy ending. Almost every character got their happy ending at least, other than Doll and Jay, and Sin of course. And overall, I'm just very satisfied as a fan with this finale. There was room for more, and I like that. Even if this really is the end, I'm happy everyone, especially V, got that ending they deserved. But that's gonna be all for this video. Make sure to let me know what you thought of episode 8 in the comments below, and while you're there, like and subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.